Okay, so in Tower Defense Simulator, we might have the weirdest, I want to say bug, concerning immunities or abilities, whatever you want to call these. I think they're called immunities, or detections, actually. The game calls them detections. A more accurate representation is actually probably just calling them immunities of some kind. For this, we'll need the Pursuit Tower, because, fun fact, the Pursuit Tower is one of the very rare towers to have a lot of immunities. In fact, I'm willing to say that it's probably one of the only towers with all visible immunities in Tower Defense Simulator, including stun immunity and freeze immunity. You may have towers like the Engineer, for example, which has lead detection, hidden detection, flying detection, the big three, the main three that everyone talks about. However, the Pursuit itself also has stun immunity and freeze immunity. So as you can see here, freeze immunity means that the Pursuit can't be frozen, except for a period of time when it could be through other sources, because this actually meant legacy immunities. This is why when you saw the Pursuit in Outpost 32 for the Operation Ice event, you could actually freeze the Pursuit despite showing up freeze immunity, because apparently it was actually referring to the legacy immunities, or legacy freeze, when talking about the freeze immunity. But I think they may have fixed it. I mean, obviously, we just have to test it out. Use this unstable ice, and it doesn't jump towards the towers. Ah, okay. Let's see. Let's do this one more time. Oh, yeah, the Pursuits still get frozen. Interesting. Okay. Let's see. Let's have 2 unstable ices then. Well, let's just spam these then. Let's see. Yeah, so the Pursuits, they still kind of do attack when frozen, though. So I guess it has freeze immunity of some sorts. But you can see it's really weird. You can see the hitboxes, and you can see, like, there's an area here where you can actually interact with it, which is, again, very, very weird. Yeah, I don't know what this bit is and why you can interact with it, because it's not like the Pursuit goes towards... Maybe it's just the center of the thing. No, it's not. It's not even where, like, the bullets come from. I have no idea what that is. But even though these Pursuits, they're still, like, frozen, they are still damaging these enemies, at least from what I can see. So let's see. So you can see damage counters, and then you can't see damage counters, even though it does appear like the Pursuits still continue to attack these enemies and follow it around, but they don't do any damage to it. So this freeze immunity doesn't apply to the modern freeze stuff, but apparently what it does apply to is the legacy stuff. So this legacy unstable ice, it should explode, and it should freeze like these towers here, but it doesn't. Hang on, where's this thing come from? I've not placed a tower near there. How has that... I don't know what's going on. Hang on, they're just random spots of tower placements, even though I've not placed anything there, including... Well, actually, it might just be the Pursuits, because I've not actually seen, like, the red rings around the Pursuit, so I think freezing them has messed them up slightly. Alright, let's do this again. Can the scouts get frozen? No. Have they broken the unstable ice? Oh well, we just get out the old classic. The Fallen Titan, for some reason, can freeze enemies ever since it was updated in, like, the Frost Invasion update. We just need, like, these Pursuit towers to be kind of in range of this scout here. And as you can see, the Pursuit isn't getting frozen, even though it is in range of that shockwave. I know the shockwave is really glitched, so it doesn't necessarily freeze everything inside of its line. However, in this case, the Pursuit is being freeze immune from that, because again, it applies to legacy freeze, such as those from the Fallen Titan and other hardcore enemies, because they're listed under legacy, as seen here. Yeah, legacy enemies, whereas modern enemies that can freeze, none of the Fallen enemies, I don't think, but like the unstable ice, they can actually freeze these towers. So that's an explanation why the Pursuit may have freeze immunity, but it's not being frozen immune. However, when it comes to flying, yeah, that's pretty obvious. It can attack flying enemies, and then when it comes to stun immunity, it actually both applies both ways. It can't be stunned by legacy or by modern enemies. So, for example, if we were to get the Void Reaver up, not only can't the Void Reaver, like, target the Pursuits and everything here, so as you can see, the Void Reaver has stomped, and these Pursuits, they're not being stunned, whereas these towers here, they are being stunned. Additionally, the Void Reaver cannot specifically target the Pursuit tower itself. So, for example, its Soul Steal move, it won't target the Pursuit tower, but if the Soul Steal move, say, targets the Scout here, and the Pursuit Tower is in line of that, even further, the Pursuit can't have its Soul Stealed from it, because, well, I mean, it's not really a tower that you can actually Soul Steal from. However, this also applies to, I believe, towers that have stun immunity. So, for example, even if the Ranger is in range of being Soul Stunned, it can't really have its soul taken because it's also stun immune. Now, I think this applies in some circumstances to debuffs that can be applied to it. So for Walks the Fox, when it jump scares, there is a debuff that's applied to it. But as you can see, the Scout does have the 50% lower range, but it doesn't apply to the Pursuit. Although, from what I can tell, it doesn't always necessarily apply to that. I do believe in some circumstances for enemies which increase fire rate, so thereby making the enemy shoot slower, thereby making the tower shoot slower, then the Pursuit can be affected. But as of right now, it can't be affected by stuff with like the icon debuffs, such as the decreased range, such as being haunted by Walks the Fox. Although this doesn't also apply to the Cowboy, the Mecha Cowboy here, because of weird reasons associated with the rig that the tower uses, because it's not the standard rig. When Roblox updated, this rig, it's not the standard one. It can get stunned in some circumstances, but it can't get debuffed in other circumstances, such as the Walks the Fox jump scare. Meanwhile, if you were to upgrade to the bottom path, I do believe that, yes, you get hidden for the Pursuit. What is it? On the bottom path, the 4B path, sorry. The 4A path is up here. This is the 4B path. It also gets lead detection at level 1. So, yes, it gets all of the main immunities, such as hidden, such as flying, such as lead on the bottom path. It doesn't on the top path. This is upgraded to the top path. There is no hidden detection. There used to be hidden detection, but they moved it down to the bottom path. So the next detection that we need to apply is the Firework Technician's Firework Buff Detection. Now, the Firework Technician can also buff the tower with lead detection, with hidden detection, and with flying detection. But, I mean, obviously, passively, it can't. It only can passively give out the Firework buff. So in this circumstance, we don't really need the buff from the Firework Technician at the start of every wave because the Pursuit has everything. It also cannot give out freeze immunity, nor can it give out stun immunity. So these detections that you see here, flying detection, hidden detection, lead detection, then natural, but can also be given by the Firework Technician at the start of every wave. The Firework Buff Detection, that is passive, so it automatically gives out to any towers in its range, no matter the time, so that's fair enough. For the Pursuit, we need that. Then stun immunity detection, freeze immunity detection. Yeah, it's weird how the game calls these stun immune detection, because you're not really detecting any enemies that are stun immune, nor are you detecting enemies that are freeze immune. It's just a ability or a passive thing that is given to the Pursuit, so it can't be frozen by legacy freeze immunities, by legacy freezing enemies, nor can it be stunned by any enemy. But we can go one further. So what we need next is a hacker tower, because for some reason there is something weird when it comes to the hacker tower. Right, so hacker tower placed down, right? Doesn't matter which level, although to be fair, get it to max level. Let's make it you know, actually capable of doing whatever we need it to do. Then what we need next is the Fallen Jester. Don't do what I did. It's an enemy. Fallen Jester is an enemy, but there is a very weird thing when you place down when you spawn in a Fallen Jester alongside a hacker tower. The hacker tower will convert it, and it doesn't show up here because it wasn't in range. But doing that, the hacker tower should, and I say should, be able to give out some detections that the towers don't have, and unusual detections at that. Right, let's just have a massive amount of Fallen Jesters. Let's see if it does it. Yes, it has done it now. Right, so as you can see here, these towers now have nimble, bloated detections. Now, the weird thing is, as you can see, the Fallen Jesters, when they died, they converted over by the hacker tower, and interestingly, they gave out this bloated and nimble detections, as seen here. Now, the really, really weird thing is, obviously, the Fallen Jester gives out bloated and nimble to enemies, but apparently, when you convert the Fallen Jester over, it gives out nimble and bloated, quote, detections to any towers that are in range of when it gets converted. Now, interestingly, obviously, this doesn't do anything. Bloated and nimbles, they aren't like immunities which you can detect. It's like enemies that spawn in with bloated. It's not a detection that if a tower has like bloated detection, it deals like additional damage to it or something like that. Nor does it like make the tower be able to detect it in any way whatsoever. This, for some reason, is a glitch, I think, because there is no such thing as bloated and nimble detections. However, what's interesting is that normally, if the Fallen Jester dies near his towers, it doesn't give out bloated or nimble detections whatsoever. It's, for some reason, when interaction with a hacker tower and it converts over into a enemy, I guess, a friendly enemy, it is then when it gives out bloated and nimble detections. Now, obviously, this hacker tower only has nimble detection. That's because the fallen jesters two fallen jesters actually happened to give, one of them gave out nimble detection to this pursuit, and then one of them gave bloated detection to this pursuit as well. So yeah, you do need 2 fallen jesters at the very least to get all of the detections here. But from what we can see, this is all of the detections that a tower may get. Now, bloated detection doesn't make the pursuit tower any bigger or anything like that, nor does nimble detection make the pursuit any faster. So I mean, if we were to relocate the pursuit here and then relocate another pursuit here that isn't nimble, as you can see, not any faster. This pursuit doesn't have nimble as shown off here. So what is to be made of these immunities? Well, it's a very weird bug. That's all I can say really. But very interesting, because now my pursuit has, yeah, everything. So this is all of the detections that a tower may have.